Hi. Welcome everybody to our regional flood control district citizens advisory committee flood control our county regional flood control district advisory citizens advisory committee of November 2nd and virtual. And I'm going to turn the meeting over to Steve Parrish and go from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As a reminder, done the last several meetings, we'll request any committee members wishing to make a comment, ask a question, or make a motion, say your name for the record. We'll open the floor to questions after presenting each item. Also, after a motion is made and a vote is called for, each committee member will verbally vote. The vote is unanimous, that will be noted. If there are any nay votes, then we'll initiate a roll call to completely accurately identify the vote for the record. This meeting was properly posted and noticed in accordance with Declaration of Emergency Directive 006 issued by Governor Sisolak on March 2nd, 2020, and subsequent directives extending Directive 006 until the end of the Declaration of Emergency is issued. These directives suspend the requirement contained in NRS for physical location to be provided to public bodies and meetings. Pursuant to Directive 006, a physical location has not been provided to this meeting. A live stream of the meeting is available on the website as posted on the meeting notes. An email address, public comment at regionalflood.org has been provided in the notice of public meeting to allow the public to participate in this meeting. This email address will be monitored during the meeting should any member of the public wish to participate in the final comment period. Any comments received prior to or during the meeting will be read into the record and will become part of the record. So with that, we will begin with a voice roll call to verify all committee members present. Please make sure members that you're not on mute, and please respond when you hear your name called. And we'll start with Chairman Ron Newell.
Present.
Vice Chair Bill Starmer.
Present.
James House. Jeff Lestovka.
Present.
Ed Euling.
Present.
Larry Schultz.
Here.
Marshall Desai.
Present.
Jim Giordano.
Present.
Brian Wilson.
Here.
Norm Ashford.
Present.
And Marina Harrigan. Okay, showing 9 members present. We do have a quorum. Before we start on the agenda, I just wanted to mention quickly that this is Jeff Lestovka's last meeting with us. He's going on to greener pastures. And so I just want to say thanks to Jeff for his participation on the committee, and we wish him well. Appreciate all of the efforts and everything he's done for the committee.
Thank you, Steve.
You. We'll start item 1, comments by the general public. There was notice on the agenda posting, comments by the general public regarding items on the agenda, or posted to public comment at regionalflood.org. Jackie can check and let us know if you received any public comments.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Jackie Rector is for the record, our Department of Public Comment report.
Thanks, Jackie. Item 2 is actually the agenda with the deletion of any items. Chair, the agenda is in order for approval. Any discussion?
Ron, we'll make a motion on the agenda.
There's a motion on the floor for approval by Ron Newell. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That motion is approved unanimously. Item 2A is annual elections. District policies and procedures require each November the election chair, vice chair, and a representative to the technical advisory committee. The current chair is Ron Newell, the vice chair is Bill Starmer, and the technical advisory committee representative is Larry Schultz. All three of those have indicated a willingness to continue serving in those roles, and that is the desire of this committee. And that I'll open the floor for discussion or entertain a motion.
Harshal Desai, City of Henderson. I'll put a motion for approving item 2A.
This is Ed Ulane from Clark County. I want to make a comment that we're going into a very tough period where the revenues could be reduced. There's going to be lots of upheavals and so on. I think it's really important that the person who's the vice chairman is a person who asks lots of questions. And therefore, I would propose that Larry Schultz and Mr. Stormer switch positions and Larry Schultz be in the vice chairman position, where he would, because he's the one that asks the most questions, seems to be the most informed, isn't compromised, and so I would suggest that.
Okay, so Larry, are you making a motion to that effect?
Okay.
Steve on the floor. So I guess we have
Steve, can you hang on a second?
Yeah.
So I think Herschel that made the motion to, and I think you were approving the board at the members as constituted. Do you want to accept his motion to make the change that he has made, or do you want, because I thought he already made a motion to approve the item with the president and the chairman and vice chairman as it's constituted.
That's right. So,
I thought that the first thing was that there would be a discussion about it, and then a motion after the discussion.
He made his motion, but before the discussion, but right now he can withdraw his motion or he can amend it.
I'll withdraw my motion, and then let's see what kind of discussion we want to have based on Ed's proposal.
okay, so Marshall withdrew the motion. We have Ed Euling, if you want to make a motion, or if there's any discussion on what you had mentioned.
Of course, I haven't talked to any of the people. I'd like to hear from the two people that I am talking about, if they're willing to switch positions.
This is Larry Schultz. My wish is to serve the committee in the best way I can, and whatever the wishes of the committee, I will, of course, honor.
Bill Stormer, City of Las Vegas. Frankly, I have no interest in the TAC committee. I'm happy to stay right where I'm at.
Ed, this is Ron Rule. As far as asking questions, you and Larry both asked sufficient questions, and I mean, so we are all informed, and the things are taken care of, whether he's the vice chair or whatever. So I kind of like to keep it the way it is.
But Larry's much more qualified than I am to ask questions and really understands all the processes much better than I do. That's why I'm suggesting him for that position. But if the people are, if everyone is in favor of keeping things the same, I don't have a problem with that.
Steve, you want your original motion?
Wow.
Yeah, this is Harshal Desai, City of Henderson. Of course, I made the motion earlier, so I'm okay with the way things are. Everyone's asking the question, and Larry's always present on these meetings to ask questions. Plus, he's going to represent us at the technical advisory committee, and he's well informed. So I think it makes sense. So again, I'm fine the way it's presented here.
Okay, so can I make a motion to approve that?
Yes, make a motion.
Steve, let's just make sure we know who's the motion is going to approve as our chairman and vice chairman and rep.
Yes.
Who made the motion?
No one, yes, so. Ed, you can make a motion if you want, you need to say who the people are that you're recommending for each position. And keep in mind that Larry Schultz is the current TAC representative, so if he becomes vice chair, then we need a new TAC representative.
For chairman, then Mr. Newell, for vice chairman, Mr. Stommer, and for the representative to the technical committee, Larry Schultz.
And that's your motion, right, Mr. Yule?
Yes. Sorry.
So that's in the form of a motion?
Yes.
So the motion is to rename Ron Newell as chair, Bill Farmer as vice chair, and Larry Schultz as the technical advisory committee director. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. There's a motion on the floor. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 3 is action to approve the minutes of the September 28, 2020 meeting. Chair, the minutes are in order for approval. Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
Yeah, this is as written.
Sorry, I didn't catch who said that.
Sorry, I wasn't at the meeting last month, sorry.
This is Larry Schultz. I've reviewed the minutes and I feel they accurately reflect what we discussed at the last meeting. And I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented to the CAC.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor for approval for Larry Schultz. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. That motion carries. Unanimous. Item 4 is action to accept the financial reports. Chair's got a couple of things to talk about today. As we're doing each month, we're going to be giving you an update on sales tax as we work through the downturn in the economy. For the month of August, we estimated $8.6 million in sales tax revenue to come in the budget. The actual sales tax receipts were $8.2 million, which is about $377,000 less than what we estimated, or about 4.44% roughly. For the year, only 2 months into the fiscal year in terms of sales tax, the receipt to date is $16.6 million, which is about $257,000 less than what we estimated at this point in time, which is about 1.52%. So it's down a little bit, but nothing drastic. I would say it's not much off what we estimated, so I think we're in reasonably good shape 2 months into this fiscal year. Next thing we want to talk about is we do a couple of bonds that have closed. The first one is a refunding bond. This bond refunded a series 2013 and 2014 bond. We were able to, because of the great interest rate, we got a 2.48% true interest cost, which represents about $15.1 million. Total savings of about 9.51% as a result of this refunding. So that's good news. They've taken advantage of the low interest. Also, we structured the debt on this refunding to kind of front load the debt service, front load the savings for the debt service, which means that for the first few years that we're paying the debt service, we're paying less than we would have to try to help us again get through the downturn in the economy while resources are low. It was a good idea. We felt like structure the repayment of this debt in that manner. So both of those things helps us, savings plus restructuring that debt. The second bond is the 2020B series bond. This is an $85 million in new money. We've got a $9.9 million issue premium. There's about $900,000 cost of issuance, which nets about $94 million. We've got this bond for really good interest rate at 2.27%. So again, taking advantage of the great interest rate climate that we're in. We've got projects lining up already. In fact, there's one on this agenda that we'll be utilizing this month. So glad to see that wrap up. And with that concludes my presentation. And I'm happy to answer any questions. And if there are none, staff would recommend you accept the financial.
Bill Starner, City of Las Vegas. Steve, going back to the first slide in terms of the taxes for fiscal year, when was this budget created? I don't recall. Back in probably April, May?
Yeah, it was approved in April. The tentative budget was sent to our board, but approved the final budget in April.
Right. Okay. I wasn't sure when that was done. That's actually, the tax revenue is better than what I anticipated it would be. So y'all were pretty close.
Yeah, we're doing pretty good. I think, as long as we don't have any more closures, and, I think we all been watching the news and watching the COVID cases ticking up, it's worrisome. And I hope that doesn't trigger, closures of restaurants or what have you again. But as long as we don't, I think we're pretty confident that the numbers here will hold up in this fiscal year. But if there are closures, even if they're targeted, all bets are off. So, COVID's a fluid situation, and we're kind of taking things as they come. And of course, keep in mind that we have the ability to quickly adjust our expenditures depending on how the sales tax receipts come in. So we're kind of unique in that regard, that we can really meter new construction funding, on a month-to-month basis, really, as funding becomes available.
Thank you.
But Steve, you're going to try to expedite some of the construction based on the $94 million bond, correct? Is that the plan? Or you said you already started identifying projects that money can be used for.
Yeah, there's about 7 projects right now that total roughly $90 million in construction funding that are nearing completion of design and will be coming in for construction funding as they get their prerequisites funding completed. So those should be coming in over the next 3 to 4 months, I think, and with the first one, being today. So yeah, we got projects coming down in the queue, coming down that will be taking advantage of this money pretty quick.
And then other question I had, that in the past you used to prepare the 12-month running average for sales tax revenues. Is that something that you have prepared this time around? I just didn't see in the agenda. I've seen that in the past when you did the 12-month running average. Not the average, 12-month, yeah.
Yeah, this is Larry Schultz, Clark County. I used to find that a 12-month average, I would agree with Herschel, is very helpful to the moving average.
We do prepare that every month, but we didn't include it in this presentation, but we certainly can provide it if that's helpful.
Thank you.
For people.
But wasn't, this is Ed Ewing, wasn't the budget adjusted in June or July for the downturn, like 4% or 8%?
So the correction to the budget was for last year's budget. That was FY20 budget, because the downturn and the closures happened in the middle of March. We came in and as it really wasn't officially adjusted, but as we were doing our budget for the next fiscal year, we did an adjustment down of about 9% for the FY20 budget, and then we based the FY21 budget on those on those numbers moving forward. So we did have an adjustment downward because of the closure.
Because it's a little bit difficult to believe that we're getting so much in sales taxes when we're missing 4 million tourists a month. Well, 3, because we have about 1 million coming in.
Yeah, I think the estimates of sales tax dollars come in because tourism is in the 30 to 40% range. So with all the people that live here, buying things, the sales tax is staying relatively stable. People still need items to live, and so I think that together with the downturn in the tourism, you're right that they sort of spend a lot of money, but it's about 30 to 40%. So there is kind of a base there that kind of helps us get the down.
Is there any chance that a lot of that money might represent stimulus money, which is really ending, and 6 months from now won't be, may not be available?
That's a good point. You're right. That when we did our initial sales tax estimates right at the beginning of the closure, we had no idea at that point in time, back in March, we had no idea that there'd be what we'll call stimulus money, the $600 extra for unemployment, as well as the $1,200 checks. So that did effectively help keep the sales, the bottom of the sales tax drop from going as far as we initially thought, going as far down as we initially thought. So you're right. That money is been spent probably. I would say the bigger concern for us right now moving into the rest of this fiscal year is number one, are there going to be another closure, and number two, are evictions and foreclosures going to start happening and causing property values to go down, and the economic issues that result from that. So it's something we just got to keep monitoring and hope for the best.
Yeah, because a lot of people went and spent their rent money buying a new car, and so you get sales tax money for the car, but you don't get any sales tax money for the if the rent is being paid. And it's estimated that like 300,000 people, 100,000 people are not paid, are behind in their rent.
Yes. Problem.
I have another question about, this Ed Ewing, Clark County. I have another question about the bond, the borrowing that was done. I was under the impression that this agency operates on the basis of sales tax about $100 million a year. I didn't know that sometimes we spend more than 100 million for doing projects, or they're not constrained. That means they're not constrained by the amount of sales tax we get. You can borrow at any time.
Well, we incorporate bonding into our 10-year construction program as additional resources. I would say that we're spending over what we're making in sales tax. We do make about $100 million in sales tax. Money goes to debt service, some goes to operations, and some goes to maintenance, and the rest goes to the capital improvement program. But we do augment that with bonding on occasion to try to front load these projects and get them out of the ground and function. We have master plans, and the projects on paper don't have that like property. And so we want to make sure we get these projects built as quickly as we can, and bonding is a tool that we use to keep those projects flowing out.
And one last question, Steve. Is there any commingling of the funds that are borrowed into operating expenses?
No.
Or is that a separate accounting?
every time we sell a bond, all that money is used for construction projects.
Okay, thank you.
Entertain a motion?
Ron Noel, make a motion to approve.
Motion on the floor for approval from Ron Newell. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That motion carries unanimously. Item 5 is action to adopt amendments to the tenure construction program. There is one amendment to the tenure construction program for a fiscal impact referred later in the agenda. Staff recommends approval. Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
Bill Starr, City of Las Vegas, I move that we approve item 5 as presented.
Motion on the floor for approval from Bill Starr. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. Item 6 is action to accept the final accounting report and close out the interlocal contract for the following project. Rancho Road, System Elkhorn, Grand Canyon, to Wildlife Construction. This project has completed construction, so the City of Las Vegas is requesting to close this project out. The closeout will return $413,389.40. Staff recommends approval. Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
Motion.
I'm sorry, was that Ron Newell?
Yes,
And that was a motion for approval, right?
correct.
Motion for approval from Ron Newell. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That motion carries unanimously. Item 7 is action to accept the final accounting report, close out the fiscal year 2019-2020 maintenance program, interlocal contract with each entity. So we completed our maintenance program for FY20. As we do every year, we'll close this out and we'll open another interlocal for the current fiscal year that we're in now. You can see in the agenda item that about 9.9 million dollars of $13.9 million budget was spent on maintenance activities, about 71% of the total budget. Staff would recommend that you accept the final accounting reports and close out the interlocal contract for FY20 maintenance program. Any discussion?
Hey, Steve, this is Jim Giordano of the City of Henderson. Are those like the normal percentages that you see on an average year? Money spent and not spent?
They are usually we see a little bit more spent, generally around 80% of the total, and that's typically because we tend to put a little bit of a buffer in the maintenance program in case we get storm activity throughout the year and we need to spend extra money to clean up that type of thing. So it kind of covers the unknown there. But yeah, about 80, usually about 80%, maybe a little bit low.
You think COVID had anything to do with the money not being spent?
I don't think so.
190 days of rain.
Yeah, it just hasn't been raining. Which, you know, take it for what it's worth. We're kind of happy when it's not raining here at the flood control district, but, I think it was just less cost associated with that type of thing. Generally, the work goes on. I don't think the public works agencies reduce manpower in terms of maintenance because of the COVID, at least out in the field. So I think it's just because it's been dry.
Great, thanks.
This is Ed Yulin, Clark County. I probably should have the answer to my question since I'm representing Clark County, but I noticed that Clark County has $2.4 million unexpended. And I see these ads or hear these ads on the radio. Oh, don't drop a cigarette butt into the drainage system because it'll end up ruining Lake Mead. And one looks at the Flamingo Wash and sees it just full of trash, and just an unbelievable amount of trash. And they didn't spend $2.4 million of their budget. What is going on? And it's a lot more than a cigarette butt.
That may be a good question to ask now, actually, but I know they do concentrate their money and their efforts on the problem areas in the county. And Flamingo Wash is a good example of that. They clean it quite often, but quite often it just fills up with debris again. And that's mostly related to the homeless issues out there. And the homeless living in the system and bringing their things into the system that get washed downstream. And so it's just a continual effort. I know that they have expended quite a bit of money trying to keep that section clean. The piece down there by Maryland Parkway, the west of Maryland Parkway is under design right now. The G channel improvements in there, which will help. Because right now it's unlined. There's some AV linings in portions of it, but it's for the most part unlined. It makes it really hard to clean. It's harder to clean an unlined section than it is to clean a concrete section. And so, go ahead.
Sure. But the county only spent like 40% of their money. That we gave them for maintenance.
Yeah, funding is not the issue. I think it's manpower and I mean, but they go out there every 2 weeks, clean it up every 2 weeks, to keep it clean all the time. So it's just, they clean it, and then about a few months later, they come back and it looks like they've done nothing and they have to clean it again. It's just the way it is in an urban environment where people are living in the system. So we are working on, we found some fencing, actually the county found some fencing that's an upgrade. It's tempered steel, it's really hard to cut, and they're hoping that that'll help secure the rights of way to keep the homeless out of them. And maybe that'll help keep the trash and debris down, but it's just, you know. Go ahead.
The last time they cleaned Bermuda Wash was at least a month ago, and the people started moving back with their tents and everything by within the next day.
That's right.
And they're not doing it every 2 weeks, and they could be a lot more proactive with regard to this. And if you go from Tropicana down to Eastern Avenue, it's just a total disaster.
Hey, Steve, Herschel Desai, City of Anderson. Just a follow-up question here. Is this a one-off, or for Clark County or even for 2018-19 budget? How much was the amount expended, like from a percentage standpoint? Was it like a similar situation where, almost only 40% of the allocated budget was spent and 60% was reprogrammed for the next year? Or is this like it's one-off, or it's wondering whether this is happening every year?
Well, it's hard to say. It does seem like the county does typically not spend all of their money. Other agencies like Las Vegas and a few others spend almost 100% of their money every year. Part of the problem with the county and what happened in prior years is when they they'll program a big project. For example, a channel is failing somewhere and they need to repair or replace the whole channel section, which could be $4 or $5 million. And so they program that money, and then the design lags for some reason, and they don't get the project under construction in that fiscal year, and then it looks like they're not spending the money because they didn't get that job out in construction, and then it flows into the following year, and sometimes it's straddled the year. They started towards the end of the fiscal year, and they only spend a few months worth of the money, and then it goes into the new fiscal year. So there's things like that happen that kind of looks like we're not spending all the money, but the reality is just because for one reason or another they couldn't get a design done for a big project. I don't know that there were any projects in FY20 that they had a program that they didn't build. I can't really explain why they were short this on spending this time around, but and again, they put buffers in there to make sure they have enough money if a big storm were to hit on Lingo Wash and have to go out and do a lot of repair or cleanup. That money would come out of this extra money that you see that's not spent.
So it's unclear to me, is the money go to the next year?
It does not. We do a new budget every year, so the money remains in the fund. It remains in the maintenance work fund, 2870. But there's a new budget approved every year.
Okay, so what is the proper avenue to follow? Are you the one who should be, Steve, are you the one who should be requesting that they do a better job of cleaning their passageways? And so these cigarette butts don't end up in Lake Mead? Or am I the one that's supposed to do that? Should I talk to the county commissioner? Should I talk to Mr. Cedarberg? What?
You can do either one of those things. You can talk to the county commissioners, you can talk to Dennis Cedarberg, and I can tell you they're well aware of the issues out there. And I think they'll tell you that their spending is, they're trying to do the best that they can. It's just a problem that's just a big problem. And it's difficult to keep things clean. And like I said, the homeless, they shoot them out, they go out there and they bring law enforcement with them. They bring social service people with them and try to get these people to be relocated in an area that is safe and not in flood control channel. And then they clean all that up, and then a week later they move right back in. So and it's really hard to do that every 3 weeks. It's hard to go out there and just continuously clean a channel, and it just keeps getting rebreathing.
So, Steve, this is Larry Schultz, Clark County. So, unfortunately, a number of months ago, the city of Las Vegas did vote to have a homeless ordinance to remove homeless from certain areas of the city. Clark County had a concurrent vote. However, Clark County failed to have the political will that the city of Las Vegas demonstrated in its vote to aggressively deal with the homeless population. So, Ed, unfortunately, with the way the county commission stands right now, they have just demonstrated an unwillingness to address the problem with the source of the debris and all that, as Steve mentioned, and that's just an unfortunate situation.
Well, I'll say to that, Larry, that our channels are posted no trespass. It's already against the law for anyone to be in a channel that's posted no trespassing. And so there is legal authority to remove these people. It's different than a sidewalk, which is what you're talking about in the city of Las Vegas, where there was public rights of way for roadways and things that they were trying to get. They passed that ordinance to keep the homeless from camping or whatever on those roads.
But if there's not a how should I say, if there's not a solution that precludes them from returning, then it's just a ordinance that's enforced, but there's no perpetual solution. There's there's no jail sentence or whatever, apparently.
Well, they can cite them, usually they'll go in and if they leave willingly, then they just let them go. They pack their things up and they leave. Some refuse to leave and they can be arrested, cited, if they're refusing to go.
Yeah, the difference is the city of Las Vegas has an ordinance that relocates them to a housing area and provides them with assistance. And I believe that's the same issue that Clark County declined to pursue.
Yeah, they still do that when they do a sweep. They bring out the whole team of people to try to get these people the help they need. So that they don't have to live in the system. And some people take that help and some don't. I mean, really, you gotta solve the underlying problem of homelessness to solve this issue. That's beyond the scope of our maintenance work.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Steve, this is Chris Higgins. Just to tell you, Clark County actually does have a program. They work in combination with Metro to go out and clear these channels out. They, like Steve said, they are trying to do their best. They probably could do better, but it's not like they're leaving them. They work with Metro to clean them out as best as they can. So there is something, and Steve was correct in saying the ordinance that the city passed had to do with the city sidewalks. It's a different animal when you're dealing with the flood channels. And I think this morning, Steve, you mentioned something about different types of fencing that we may be using to keep people out. It's a constant problem. Clark County knows it, and they are trying to address it. They could do better, but.
And what's galling about the whole thing is that the county is constantly crying for more money, that they don't have enough money. And then here we are sitting with our budget right in front of us, and they let $2.4 million just be lost completely when there's an urgent problem that exists. And they have the idea that everything can be solved with money. Well, why didn't they solve this problem with $2.4 million? More than they actually spent on all their channels in the whole county.
Steve?
Yes.
Remind the members that money is for maintenance.
It is for maintenance, so we can't solve the homeless problem using maintenance money. All we do is be reactionary and clean up the channels with this money. And so, in the end, there's a bigger problem here than we can deal with, and it's reaction. We gotta go out and clean these channels after the fact when they've already been, got trash deposited. So,
The commissioner will see these and expect that we can have more meeting and there will send questions to their public works department.
Everyone understands there's a problem. How we solve it is the issue. So with that, any other discussion? Entertain motion?
And you move the final accounting reports?
Ed Euling, and you approve the accounting reports as close on contract?
Yes.
Any motion on the report?
Not approve them, accept them.
Accept the final accounting reports and close out the interlocal contract.
Right.
That's your motion.
Yes.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. That motion carries unanimous. Item 8 is action to adopt amendments to the refund of public safety policies and procedures annual 2020 annual review and update. As we mentioned at previous meetings, we've been working on our annual update of policies and procedures. We do have a few changes proposed. And I'll go through each of the changes so you'll understand what's being revised. If you look at the agenda item under, in the background section of the agenda item, section 6 interlocal contracts, first bullet there, and section 6.c.e. This is standard interlocal contract requirements. What we're doing is revising our, we have standard templates for interlocal contracts in the back of the policies and procedures to help the entities prepare their interlocal contracts. This change is adding additional language, an additional paragraph to those contracts to allow for multiple counterpart signatures, and that's basically related to the COVID and the pandemic, and it's getting difficult to get someone in person to actually sign a contract. So this gives us flexibility to allow the contracts to be signed individually by the parties that are signing them. And it helps us with digital and electronic signatures. Section 66, local drainage participation. I mentioned this at the last meeting that we've been having some problems with those local drainage projects, and that when we approve a local drainage project, we're approving the construction funding at the beginning of the contract, and that's prior to these projects being designed. And so that money is held then for, it could be 1 or 2 or 3 years before the project's actually designed and goes to construction. So we want to try to limit the amount of money that's encumbered at one time for local drainage projects. So to that end, we are adding language that limits each entity to only have 1 local drainage project open at a time. And so if you have a local drainage project open, once that project is awarded for bid by their board or council, that would free them up to then go through the process of open a new local drainage project. The next page shows the exhibit B, which is the back of the policy procedures being revised. This is our standard detail for our project sign that we put out with the projects under construction. It provides information to the public regarding the project. We're revising the detail of that, having a logo and also the logo of the participating entity to the sign. And a lot of agencies around the county are doing that already, so we're just following suit. Exhibit C is being revised some time ago, or last year actually, we revised our project status. We required the entities to have line items for entity labor for both design and construction, but when we did that, we didn't revise our project status report to reflect that information. So this change is adding a box for design entity in-house labor and another one for construction management in-house labor. And exhibits E, G, and H are being revised to add a paragraph that I mentioned for bullet regarding the language for getting signatures during COVID and the electronic signatures and individual counterpart signatures. And then exhibit J is professional service agreement. Just minor language change on that. I should point out that exhibits D, H, and J, we're changing the signature blocks in the back of the template to reflect a generic chairman of the board and a generic legal counsel. Instead of having actual names in there, so that way if we have a change to the chair or we have a change to the legal counsel, we don't have to change. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any. Governance staff would recommend that you adopt the amendments to the policies.
This is Larry Schultz, Clark County. I did review the documents, the changes, and all the exhibits. And my compliments to the team that worked on this. It looked like a pretty comprehensive and thorough and professional job. Again, well done. And accordingly, I feel that this is appropriate that we as the CAC move to concur with your plan to adopt these amendments to the Policies and Procedures Manual. So I move so accordingly.
Could I ask a question?
Yes.
Yeah, this is Ed Yulin, Clark County. I don't understand this section 6E6. Does that mean that like Clark County can only have one project going on at a time?
Just local drainage. So the local drainage program is separate from the capital improvement program. Yeah, the local drainage set up actually it was a CAC derived program that came about years ago to provide some regional flood control district funding to try to solve some more local type drainage issues as opposed to the regional issues that the capital improvement program. So
Thank you very much.
you're welcome. Any other questions? There's a motion on the floor for approval from Larry Schultz. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That motion carries unanimous. Item 9 is action to approve the Fifth Amendment to the agreement with Bristol, Ivester, and Basil LLP to extend the completion date and provide legal consulting services regarding the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System. We have an existing agreement with this firm. We've been working with Larry Basil, who's one of the partners on environmental issues here in Clark County for probably over 25 years now. He's very knowledgeable in all issues related to the environment, how we have to deal with both the state and federal government in terms of environmental permitting. This is just extending the agreement, so we keep him under contract. It's a time and materials type of contract, so we only pay him when we use him for something. We don't pay him a retainer, and that's staff would recommend approval. Any discussion? Entertain a motion?
Ron, I'll motion to approve.
Motion on the floor for approval from Ron Newell. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That motion carries. Unanimously. Item 10 is action to approve the supplemental local contracts for construction and design to extend the project completion dates for following projects. Item A is for supplemental local drainage improvements for Chickasaw Storm Drain, the city of Henderson. Item B is 16 for supplemental Coconut North catch basin and outfall, city of Henderson. Item C is for supplemental Hemingway System Phase 2E improvements, city of Boulder City. Mr. Chair, all extensions of time for the interlocal contracts between the School District and Unity. Item 10A is the local drainage project, which is currently under design now, and they just need additional time to finish that design and get it out to construction. Item 10B is the North Catch Basin. This project has completed construction, but they need to get a letter of map revision, FEMA, so they need additional time to get that work completed. Item C is the first supplemental for Hemingway System Phase 2B improvements. That project is about to advertise for construction, so this is the additional project. Staff recommends approval of items 10, A, B, and C. Any discussion?
Person besides City of Henderson, I would like to abstain from voting on item 10A.
A and B? Did you say?
No, just 10A, just 10A.
This day.
Yep.
Ed Yulin, Clark County, move to approve the contracts for 10A, 10B, and 10C.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor for approval of items 10, B, and C. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. And that motion approved unanimously with noting partial side abstain, item 10. Item 11 is Whitney Ranch Channel Replacement, City of Henderson. Item 11A is actually to accept the project presentation. We have a presentation prepared for this item, and Mr. Johnny Wright's on call for the hearing. Jeff, when you're ready, you can unmute and you can begin your presentation.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Hello, this is Jeff Christ with Jacobs Engineering. I'm representing the City of Henderson Public Works today for the Whitney Ranch Channel Replacement Project presentation. Next slide. This approximately 4,400 foot regional conveyance facility is located in the southeast part of the valley, just northwest of the intersection of Sunset and Stephanie. Next slide. It consists of, we're tying in at the upstream end to an existing 9x5 reinforced concrete box. There's about 940 feet of reinforced concrete box through the Whitney Mesa Park area, and then approximately 3,400 feet of replacement of the existing undersized trapezoidal channel over to the Pittman Wash, which is located on the west side of Stephanie. Next slide, please. The project consists of approximately seven regional flood control facilities for the Whitney Wash Duck Creek system. As I mentioned, we're tying in at the upstream end to the existing WWDC 0084 9x5, and then we'll be installing a 9x5 to 16x5 reinforced concrete box and through the alignment to the Pittman Wash. And there's approximately 700 feet of reconstruction of the existing Pittman Wash channel to accommodate this new facility. Our flows range from 1,080 CFS up to 1,301 CFS. Next slide. This is a typical section of the box as it goes through the Whitney Mesa Park area. As I mentioned, it ranges from 9x5 to a 16x5 concrete box, and we'll have a maintenance access road over the top of the facility and a subdrain system to manage the groundwater in the area. Next slide, please. The downstream 3,400 feet, as I mentioned, is within an existing flood control easement. We'll be removing a portion of the existing channel and placing in a reinforced concrete box, again with a maintenance road over the top and a subdrain system. Next slide. This is a typical section of the reconstruction of the 700 feet of the Pittman Wash to accommodate the new facility, where we'll be significantly increasing the hydraulic efficiency of the system by installing a 0-degree confluence in the Pittman Wash. Next slide. A couple of pictures for you guys. This is the upstream end of the facility on the west side of the Whitney Mesa Park, the existing 9x5 RCB. Next slide. This is a typical shot of the existing trapezoidal channel. You can see that it's in disrepair at this time, and there is a constant nuisance flow through the alignment. Next slide. This is a shot of the Galleria arch culvert. It's currently about half the size that it should be designed for, so we'll be removing that, replacing it with more hydraulically efficient reinforced concrete boxes. This is one of the facilities that creates some FEMA concerns. There's 17 existing private properties that are in the floodplain, and we'll be removing those properties with this project. Next slide. And this is looking north at the Pittman Wash. You can see the existing confluence of the Whitney Ranch channel that we'll be replacing with RCB and turning it to be a 0-degree confluence to point the flow downstream. Next slide. This is a quick breakdown of the project costs. Design engineering, environmental, as I mentioned, the Flowmar. There will be public outreach component to this project right away. Our construction estimate is $14.9 million. And with construction management, that brings the project total to $16.4 million. Next slide, please. Currently, the plans are 90% complete. All the environmental requirements have been met for the project, and there's no additional right-of-way required within existing City of Henderson or flood control right-of-way. Next slide. At this time, we're anticipating award of bid in February of next year, with the start of construction in March of 2021, and the project duration is 9 months. Next slide. With that, I'll entertain any questions.
Yeah, this is Larry Schultz with Clark County. Jeff, thank you so much for a well-done and comprehensive presentation. So typically when I see these type of projects, I always have a quick question. Are there any unique design challenges or risks that you feel we should be aware of? And if so, what would be the related mitigation strategies?
Sure, Larry, thank you for the question. There's a couple items that we were paying very close attention to on this project throughout the design. One of them being the groundwater, and the other one being the existing 30-foot easement that we'll be reconstructing the channel within. These aren't new challenges that we've had with. We've dealt with this on previous regional flood control projects, and we've used that experience and worked it into this project for sure. We've started for the groundwater specifically. We've started the process with the NDEP to get a NIPD's permit for this project that we'll be able to transfer over to the contractor, which will save significant amount of time beginning of the project for mitigation of that groundwater, whether it be diversion or pumping. Within the existing close quarters easement, we paid very close attention to the offsets from the existing property walls that we're dealing with. There's retaining walls and property walls on either side of that corridor. We're staying generally about 5 to 7 feet away from those existing walls. And that with the shoring that we'll be using to install the box will help to mitigate those issues. I think those are probably the two biggest ones that we're dealing with, Larry.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions for Jeff?
Jeff, this is Jim Giordano. I also appreciate the presentation, very well done. Just had one quick question. Do you know about how old that concrete lining is that's being replaced?
Sure. It was originally constructed back in the late 80s by the developer in a couple of different segments. Over the course of the last 30 plus years, the city of Henderson has periodically gone into the corridor to replace panels as they become damaged. But it's a lot of effort at this point, and given the fact that the channel was designed for about half of what the current flow for this corridor is, it's a good time now to go in and upgrade the channel and make sure that we're protecting those adjacent developments.
Okay, great. Sounds like we've got about 30 years of channel line.
Yes.
Hey Jeff, Hershey Desai, City of Henderson. Again, great presentation. One quick question. On the last slide, you showed that no right is required, but then there is, in the budget, there is $54,000 for right. So that's not going to be used, or just trying to understand what's the difference?
I'll take a stab at that and maybe lean on Mr. Jankowiak from the City of Henderson. We're needing to rework some of the legals through the park area to better account for the alignment changes that we've done, which is a small portion of that right away. We're also coordinating with some communities on the downstream side, which isn't that big of a deal either really for this project. So I think that was probably the budget number that was originally set aside for the project. And I anticipate we wouldn't be using all of that money.
Okay, thank you.
This is Ed Uline, Clark County. What does CLOMAR or LOMAR mean?
Hey, thanks, Ed. A CLOMAR is a conditional letter of map revision. It's a submittal that we do to FEMA, essentially to alert them of this project and get any early comments from them so that they're on board with this project before we even get started. Following the completion of the construction of the project, we'll resubmit back to FEMA with the LOMAR request, which is the letter of map revision. And following their review and a public comment period, then we'll be able to change the flood map to remove those properties from the floodplain.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Any other questions? Hey, thanks, Jeff. Staff would recommend you accept the project presentation.
Yeah, Hershey Desai, City of Henderson. I'll make a motion to accept this presentation. Again, great job, Jeff.
Thanks, sir.
There's a motion on the Floor for approval from first side. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Item 11B is actually the interlocal contract construction. This is an interlocal contract construction and management. Total value of $15,460,854. We do have sufficient funds for this project. Staff recommends approval. Any discussion? Entertain a motion?
Ron Newell, motion to approve.
Motion on the floor for approval from Ron Newell. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed say nay. That motion carries unanimously. Item 12 is comments by the general public. Notice on the agenda stating comments by the general public regarding any issue related to the regional public district were to be posted in the public comments at regional.org. Jackie, could you please check to see if they have any public comments received?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Jackie Ramirez, Elected Director, and there are no comments to report.
Jackie, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you everyone for joining us.
Yeah, I had a quick one as general public.
Okay.
So Larry Schultz, Clark County, representing general public. So Aaron, if you're still there, can you give us the Reader's Digest condensed version of any kind of public outreach activities your team may have in the coming months as it relates to the program? And if there aren't any, that's fine too. I was just curious.
Thank you for that question, Larry. This is Erin Neff, for the record, Public Information Manager. We are seeing impacts to our typical school presentations, but we continue to work with the Clark County School District to hopefully start doing a little bit more outreach because, as you know, schools are closed and teachers have not yet accepted our outside presentations, but we have altered all of our outreach in this time. We have gone virtual with our school program to include a specialized video that a teacher can present in the classroom that is essentially hosted by our staff and walked through as if it is a school presentation. So that's one of our main activities. Additionally, we are still producing the Flood Channel television programming for YouTube and also for Clark County and City Television. And I have just gone through purchasing paid advertisements with 5 local news stations to air our stormwater public service announcements. You know, Ed talked a lot about those ads that keep cigarette butts out of the drains and keep trash off our streets. I know we really talked about the homeless issue today, but we still do see a lot of littering throughout Clark County, and we believe our advertising helps reinforce the message that stormwater goes into Lake Mead untreated. So those are 3 of our main areas that we're working on right now. But again, our public outreach has not stopped. It's just really going virtual in this time. Thank you for the question. Happy to follow up with any other information you may have or need.
Thank you, Aaron. That's exactly what I was looking for, that type of feedback. Thank you.
Steve, before you completely end this meeting, I just wanted to say thank you to whoever puts this packet together for us each month. That's a thankless job and it's very well done.
Thank you for those comments. I will forward them.
Please, thank you.
Some people are sitting in the room that will handle that, so they're all smiling under their masks.
Can't be saying what he's predicting though.
Okay, any other comments?
This is Ed Hewlett. I just want to second the comments of Mr. Starner, that the material that you provide each of us is just incredible. There are other agencies in the county that don't provide anything for virtually anything important for either the public and sometimes for their own committee members. So it's the job that you guys do is just amazing. Every month we know exactly where every dollar is.
Yes, I try to be as transparent as possible. Thank you for that comment. Any other employees?
Okay, Brian Wilson, I'll chime in just because. I happened to sit on another board, and I gotta say, I love that you guys get your packets to us so early. It's a nonstop pulling teeth getting fed, you know, at 71 hours and 59 minutes before the meeting, right down to the last second of public meeting law, getting handed the packet that doesn't have anywhere near the info we need to turn around and vote on, you know, millions of dollars. So I love that you guys get it out so early.
Yeah, that's not an easy thing to do, and staff works really hard because we're working with all of our member entities to get these items revised, corrected, and signed, and get them all in, and they just do a great job of getting all that done. There's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes on this agenda, and lots of people involved in it, and they've been doing it a long time. And they make it look easy, but it's really not. So thank you for thanks for acknowledging that, and we appreciate that.
And we also appreciate all the hard work that you see, all the hard work that you do on our board as well.
Yeah, it's certainly a team effort for sure.
You know, again, Steve, I was specifically referring to the person who physically puts the pieces of paper together. So, as well as all the staff who make the papers say something.
Well-rounded thing. I appreciate that. Anything else?
Yeah, thank you for all your cooperation, and thank you for re-electing Bill and I, and hopefully we'll get together next year and see you in person. And other than that, happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Karina, remember him? I noticed he came on a little late and just stayed on after everyone thumbs up, and so I talked to you for a minute. I appreciate that.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you. With that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Stream's down.